Welcome to the Thin Within podcast, the show for women who want mental secrets for weight loss mastery. I'm your host, Marna Thall. I'm the owner of thinwithin.com, and I'm here to give you the inside scoop on how to lose weight by mastering your inner game. Diets never worked for me long term, and if you're like 95% of the rest of the human race, they haven't worked long term for you either. Every week, I'll give you tools, techniques, and resources you need to actually succeed in using the power of your mind to lose weight. I can't wait to teach you another mental secret, so let's dive right in. Hello, everybody. It's Marna Thall here, and I am with Miss Karen, who is got the most amazing story. Karen has lost a lot of weight. She started losing weight, and then when we started working together, she started losing more weight. I've had the most fun. It's been the greatest pleasure and honor working with you for all these months. So, Karen, welcome.
Hello, hello.
Hello. Okay, so let's start by, first of all, how much weight have you lost? Tell everybody.
I have lost 80 pounds. Do the happy dance.
I'm doing the happy dance for you.
Yeah, me too.
So why do you think this time? What happened to make this time different?
done Weight Watchers. We've done counting calories, done a diabetic diet. I've done everything. I mean, I even did Jenny Craig where they send you the food in a package before.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I lost anything on that one at all. But it was very painful and restrictive and just not fun. This was very, very easy. I really think that was the deal, because from the very beginning, I think I listened to one of your podcasts about the 7-day thing that you did in December before the 30-day challenge. And it was all about making it easy, no pain. And it really was. It was really, really easy for me. That was the easy part, is picking it, because it was not painful. So it was easy to stick to.
Okay. So that's been the shift, is that this was doable and it fit into life. Okay.
Like you say, you don't want people to count calories. You don't want people to kick food groups out and stuff like that. So it's great to be able to say, I'm losing weight, but I'm still eating what I like.
Mm-hmm. And you've been so amazing. So here's what you all have to know. Karen is one of those people, you tell her, okay, let's focus on this, and she does it. And then if you don't know something, you always ask me, you'll be like, Marna, I'm trying to implement this. How do I do that? And so you've just really immersed yourself in this process this year. And let's talk about some of the obstacles. Let's talk mindset. What has been a mindset shift that you feel like you've made over these last months?
A lot of it is the self-talk. Well, that's the big deal for me. From the very, very first conversation that we had, it was more negative thinking and ugly thoughts. And now it's so much easier to be nice to me and to love me and to pump me up, instead of, oh, I'm just going to go eat that because I don't deserve any better. So it's really good. That's the best. That is the best mind shift that I've had.
You know what's so funny? Because you would tell me that. You'd say, Marna, you should have seen me before. I was so negative. I'm like, what? You were? I have rarely seen that ever. And we work very closely together. You're so positive now. What's helped you do that?
I remember one conversation that we had. I was riding my bike and I had made it halfway through my ride. I'd gotten to where I stopped. And I was doing a Marco Polo with you, and it was like, I can't do it. I just can't go on any further. And then I stopped and I realized, how beautiful it was outside. And the thoughts, because you were on at that moment, and we talked through that, and you said, you are changing your thoughts immediately. And used to, I wouldn't do that. I would just go down the rabbit hole and stay there. So I am very blessed to have the opportunity to change my thinking and to be more positive and loving to myself.
It has been so fun to see and so fun to watch, because I also really don't know that part of you. We would talk through things and you'd be like, oh, and then you just changed your inner dialogue. It was just amazing. And then you're like, yeah, it's awesome, isn't it?
Yeah. That part is really cool. And to help with that, though, I mean, when I would make those changes and I would do something different, the support and the access and the help just impacted that and made it so much easier to change.
I'm so glad. Well, that makes me so happy to hear that it was just
Yeah.
helpful to have me sort of in your pocket where I could be like, okay, let's do this. Or let's do this.
Right.
So another thing you all have to know about Karen. Karen and I started working together before COVID started. You did the 30-day challenge.
Mhm.
Then we started working privately together. And you had been swimming a little bit, right? You'd been swimming. And then you were like, I can't go to the pool. It's COVID. You can tell me if I'm wrong. I think I recall you saying, oh, you know what? But I've got this bike in my garage. And I was like, all right, you want to take it out? And you're like, yeah, I'll just go take it out. Is that how you recall it? And maybe it was a little different how you recall it. Tell me.
It was pretty close to that. In the fall, my family and I would go swim at the lake. And then in the winter, I would swim at the Y.
Right.
Well, then the Y closed because
Right.
of COVID and we couldn't swim anymore.
Correct.
And it was after we did the love list and the things on the love list, you wanted us to do that and pick something on the love list instead of eating or looking for food and stuff. I decided I wanted to go outside. Needless to say, it stuck.
All right. So let me give a reference point of what the love list is. So during the 30-day challenge, one of the things I have people do is create a love list. What are the things that you want to do? You say that you want to lose weight. And if we're not turning to food for emotional reasons in your life, what are the things that make you happy? What are the things you love? Okay. So you said, I love being outside, which now we're so clear about. You need to be outside. You said, I want to be outside. Then what happened?
I have a mountain bike. I used to ride mountain bike about 10 years ago. And we have beautiful parks around here. It's very fun, but it's kind of dangerous. You know, you fall off and you get hurt. So I decided one afternoon that I would go for a short ride and went around the block. And I probably went around the block 3 or 4 times and went and rode through the park and went up and down the little hills and stuff. It stuck. It was not an overnight thing. I went back and looked at the distances that I was measuring, and they were like a mile, 2 miles, a mile every other day. And then it got to be every day. And it got to be 3 miles and 5 miles. And I think the first time I really went, I thought it was really farthest was 13. And I called you and I said, oh, you can't believe what I just did. This is amazing. I think at that point I was hooked. That got me hooked. My sister had a road bike that she didn't like. And so I got her road bike. And it was so nice. It was so much fun because it was so much lighter than the mountain bike. And it felt like I was flying. Years and years and years ago, I used to ride a motorcycle.
Mm-hmm.
And you didn't have to wear a helmet back then because they didn't have all the laws and stuff. So when the air hits your hair and it just kind of flies, the wind hitting your body when you go fast on a bike is so cool.
I mean, and here's the thing that I think is the coolest. You didn't put that pressure on yourself at all initially. You just said, we're like, let's just take the bike out and just go ride, see if you like it. And then you're like, okay. And then you went a little bit and went a little bit. And all of a sudden you're like, I think I might like this riding thing. I'm kind of enjoying it. But you weren't like forcing yourself at all to be a certain way and have that certain intensity. It was through pure joy. I was like, let's just like, I just want it to be fun. But then fast forward, and then all of a sudden you're like, I'm getting clip-in shoes. Oops, I fell. Oops, I fell. Oops, you know, and you're like, I'm just getting back up. You're like, now I'm going to get clothes because it's going to be cold in the winter. And it just evolved into this thing. Oh, I'm going to go with a riding group. It evolved from just this interest and enjoyment to something that like your identity of being now a cyclist is who you are. It's how you show up. Now it's 300 miles a month.
That is always a nice goal. And when COVID goes away and we're able to do our stuff again, maybe even more. Because it's easy.
You started tracking it. I was like, just go have fun. And you're like, look what I did. It's been so fun to watch you not come to movement from force, but for total and utter joy and accomplishment.
Yes.
Yeah. And now we know you need to be outside. That is it's your therapy. And when I would hear naturally thin people say, oh, I just love moving my body. It's like my therapy. It's my pleasure. It's my joy. And it's like, you would have a day that was like rough at the hospital and you'd be like, oh, I want to ride. I'm excited to ride. It's been your outlet and your love, right?
Yeah. I guess it's all the endorphins and stuff that that release. When the weather changed and it started getting cold, it was really difficult for me to decide to go ride in the cold. In the summertime, it was a big goal to keep riding in the heat because we're hot here. It was a real interesting thing to be able to find something that I was really good at and could do and succeed. And it was so much fun. It was just fun. That's part of this. It's fun. And when it's work and it's hard work, that makes it not worth it. This has all been kind of fun.
I love that. I love it. Okay, but let's talk about a part that has been not as fun. Are your plateaus. Did you know I was going to talk about that? I was like, all right, let's talk about these plateaus. Okay, so the funniest thing is that Karen, she'd lose all this weight and then you'd plateau and you'd be like, gosh darn it, what am I doing wrong? And then it was like, you're not doing anything wrong. What we started to see is that it's just your nature of your body. And it's very normal for most people's bodies. You go through a weight loss and then you acclimate to that. So here's what I think is amazing. The first plateau that you had, you could have been like, I don't want to do this. I'm going to give up on myself. Right. Like that would have been a really normal, natural way to just show up and be like, you know what? I'm not seeing results and this is pissing me off. What have you had to do through the plateaus to believe in yourself or keep moving forward?
I think part of it is realizing that it's not just losing the weight that has been so helpful. Even though I'm not losing substantial weight all the time, my mind is so much better. I feel so much kinder to myself and loving in ways that protect me instead of just being thin, because I'm going to be there. That's no question. I will be there. It's learning to love myself through the pauses.
Yes.
And still supporting myself and making sure that I'm still doing what I need to do, that I'm eat at the table, I don't watch TV while I'm eating, and I make sure that when I eat, I think about the things that make it enjoyable while I'm eating. Does that make sense?
Give me an example.
Say I had a bad day at work,
okay,
and I come home and I want to sit and veg in front of the TV with whatever I'm eating. I make a conscious decision to not sit in the den and watch TV while I'm eating. I always eat less. The environment then stays as I've created it, being in a better place to eat. My mindset doesn't change and go down the rabbit hole, even on bad days. So that's good.
So some people will be like, but eating it by yourself at the table is so boring. What would you say to that?
I went overboard with the table thing. I have flowers on my table at least 70% of the time.
Oh my God.
Sometimes I forget and they die and they get thrown away, But most of the time I have flowers on the table. At least 70 to 80% of the time I use real plates and not paper plates, because food used to be, it was something that I would just consume to be consuming, not to make me feel energized and able to keep moving.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So, and to do that, I created the dining table and I sit at the table and I enjoy that. I really do. I really enjoy that now for so many reasons. It's so great. It's just awesome because I don't have stuff sitting around the table in the chair in the den. There's not food sitting in there or anything like that. So it's really good. It's been very helpful.
I love that. This is what I'm saying when I say to Karen, let's make your kitchen beautiful. And then she's like, cleans it up and she gets it all ready. And she's like, I've got flowers, and she just follows through. And then you do it. It's amazing. Now, as a busy nurse, has it been hard to incorporate into work?
No, some nurses say, you can only eat when they tell you can eat. You can only go take your break when they give you time. Most of the time in the hospitals I've worked at, most of the time, you pretty much can say, I'm not really hungry yet. You want to trade with me? And somebody else will take their break at that time, if that's the problem. If you're having a problem with, I'm not real hungry yet, I need to wait, or, hey, I'm starving, can I go eat now? That usually works. The big deal at most hospitals is grazing and stuff, because especially with COVID, when that started, they would bring food from everywhere to us and would say, everybody come in and eat. Well, I was doing really good when that started. I would just say, no, thank you. I'll come and sit with you guys. And they would eat and whatever and sit and talk. So, that was a big deal for me, is to learn to say no, thank you. and to be okay in here.
Uh-huh.
Mhm.
Uh-huh. But when you're seeing the food, how did you navigate your inner dialogue when that food was there and people are bringing you tons of food? What did you say to yourself? Is there a dialogue that you use that helps?
A lot of times with the COVID stuff, it was relatively easy because everybody was kind of chicken to eat out because you didn't know who was fixing it and did they have COVID and were you going to get it from eating out. But a lot of time, what I would say to myself was, I'm not hungry and I'm just not going to eat right now. If there's something left later when I get hungry, good, I'll come back. But usually if I took my own lunch, because I always do that, I don't eat in the cafeteria or anything like that. And that's really good for me, is to make sure that I have food prepared or something easy.
You were always like, I don't like that food.
No, it's pretty gross.
It wasn't like this big switch or anything. You never really liked it.
No. But as far as having the food around and just brought in to say, here, let's eat. I think once I got into the program and got the mindset down, I think it was pretty easy just to say, no, thank you.
Oh, good. Well, that's good. And what about then how this has impacted emotional eating? How then are you dealing with your emotions or things that come up without tying food to it? Any tips, tools, thoughts there? Because I know that's such a big issue.
It is. Back when we started this, I would have told you I'm not an emotional eater.
Oh.
I really would have. I would have said, you're wrong. You are wrong. It is not me.
Okay.
But it really is true. And to be able to not have to go eat when I'm feeling emotional and to realize, hey, you're just feeling kind of lonely right now, or you're really bored, or you're angry, something like that is a lot better than going and just eating.
And so if you recognize I'm bored, I'm lonely, I'm sad, I'm whatever, then what's that next part for you?
When I stop and figure out, hey, you're really not hungry right now, and think about what is driving me to go stand in front of the refrigerator again. I'm usually bored. And if I'm bored, there's always something fun that I can do. You know, there always, it may not always be fun, but there's something you can do instead.
Yeah. And let's just talk about the house for a second about that. Because you have really done this amazing job mentally and emotionally, losing 80 pounds, doing this work. And then what started to happen is you were like, I want to clean my external space in my home to make that also really beautiful. And that took a whole different level of commitment and looking at and getting rid of stuff and letting stuff go, donating things. Your home space has also dramatically changed, correct?
Right. I purged. I purged a lot. After I'd lost a lot, when I started getting thinner clothes, I don't ever want to have to go back to wearing those pants again. Never. So I put them all in black bags. So I had like 5 or 6 bags. I've gone through different sizes of uniforms, and they're nice uniforms. They're nice clothes. There's nothing wrong with these clothes.
Yeah.
All of those clothes got to go to Goodwill.
Yay. So somebody else gets to really enjoy that.
Yes. That part made me feel really cool to be able to go and not put them back in my closet and keep them. I still have stuff that I haven't gotten rid of yet, but I will. It's kind of a process. I like the process. Actually, once it's gone, it feels so good.
Right. There's sometimes this relationship between consuming, this holding on, and it's like trusting your body more, letting it go, feeling more confident here, and then letting items go too is also this other level of release. And it's like your house has done a 360 too.
Yeah.
Your mind, your house, I mean, everything, movement. It's just been amazing to watch and see. It's been so fun. You signed up for the 30-day challenge. You had no friggin' clue if it was going to work or not. Were there objections that your mind had or worries that your mind had? How did you navigate some of those thoughts and feelings to say, you know what, I'm just going to do this anyway. I'm just going to move towards this. Yes, I've tried a lot of diets before.
Part of it in the beginning, in the 30-day challenge, the positive reinforcement really made that feel so easy.
Okay.
I mean, because we identify the step and learning the different steps to go through. And then to praise yourself for, I did it. I did it. And to be successful. I think that was a big deal for me, to be successful and to see it, to have the visual aid there, and to hear everybody else in the group saying, oh, I did it. And you're not going to fail. You're not going to quit.
No.
You know, that was a big deal for me because, you know, like most of us, we've all failed on diets.
Yeah.
We've done that. So that was a big deal. That was a really big deal for me.
But even to just sign up and think, oh my goodness, here I go.
Here I go again.
Should I do it? Should I not? What gave you the courage to say, okay, I'm going to try this again?
Well, first off, because it was on the internet and it was very anonymous.
Yep. So it felt safe.
So it felt really safe, and I really didn't have any expectations to start with. And then when it started working, it was like, boom, this is good. And then it was like positive reinforcement just all over the place. And I kept thinking, Dad gum, is she ever not going to be positive?
She ever going to show us
her real self? Come on, show me the real Marna.
I show you guys my real stuff.
Yeah. So I think, and I really believe that was the deal, is that it was for real, and I could see other people doing it and making it.
Okay. If you have tips for people that are starting out or that are worried or that may not believe a non-diet approach or an intuitive eating or whatever you want to call this approach of changing your mind, changing your body, eating naturally thin might work, what would you say that's just been foundational in helping you get started, or tips for somebody to get started that would be helpful?
You know, you always talk about when you watched people that were naturally thin eat, okay, and talk about their food and stuff. I never really paid attention to people that were naturally thin. I would always say, yeah, I would like to be thin. But I always thought in my head that it was a struggle. You know, when you do the diets and it starts to get hard and you quit. Well, that's the deal. This doesn't get hard. Mm-hmm. I mean, yes, you have to deal with your emotional stuff as it comes up. And if you can deal with the emotional stuff, then after you do that, there's always that feeling of success, that feeling, you know, you're just blessed and so grateful to have it and that it works.
So why do you feel like you've been so open? It's not like you haven't had some life before you. It's not like how have you been so open to just be like, I'm open to this. I'm open to trying this. I'm open to exploring this.
The things that you talk about and that you support and the way that you do that, you know, because you have to be able to talk through things usually, or communicate some way or another, or it's just not going to be worth it. I do believe that if the issues that are holding you back in your life you can talk through them, then it works. You have to have enough faith in the process to try it and trust that it's going to work. And it does.
And it just seemed like it resonated with you. Like there was this work that you really wanted to move through, old patterns, old conditioning, old thoughts. And then you were just so open saying, okay. And even if it was hard, it was like, how do I? Like
yes.
You're definitely been so solution oriented. How do I? What could I do here? So when Karen's talking about us working together, so after she did the 30-day challenge, she decided to become a private client of mine. And in being a private client, she has access to me versus Marco Polo, which she had during the 30-day challenge as a VIP client. What we do, we go back and forth. It's like, think of texting for all of you who don't know what Marco Polo is. I'm on my phone and she's on hers, and she tells me when she has something going on, and then I respond. And also we have private coaching sessions. So one of the things that's been helpful is what I'm hearing is just having that you could kind of just share yourself, and then I could respond by, hey, why don't you think of it this way? Or what if we look at it this way between our coaching sessions?
Right.
And so having that accountability in that space to just be able to really talk through. And you were I remember the first Marco Polo, you were like, what is this? I do not know if I can do this video thing. And then you got so comfy with it. You're like, I don't care. You know, like, it's just like, do you even think about it now? It's like, so like our thing. So, it's funny because sometimes you had to face that too of like, oh, I don't know if I like this. I don't know if I really like this whole Marco Polo thing, but you've clearly, you've gotten comfy with it.
Yeah, the comfort, the ease that you make everything work. Like when I come up to obstacles that are difficult, there are things that happen in your life and you don't see it coming and it'll hit you like a brick wall, and you can either, okay, I want a pizza and eat the whole pizza, or you can sit down and have dinner or whatever. I know there's options, and to have the options to pick from and to choose it and to know that I'm not making a bad choice, to see the results. I never in my right mind ever thought I'd lose 80 pounds. I never thought I would lose that much. I mean, and some days it's a struggle. It is a struggle to go, I lost 80 pounds.
You lost 80 pounds during one of the most stressful times, doing pick lines for people, watching people die, I mean, you like, not just did you lose weight during normal time, but you lost it during a really intense, you were on you've been on the front lines doing this work and watching people masking up, and you continue through this whole thing to be committed to your inner dialogue, how you're talking about yourself, how you're feeling, and how you're managing your mind. And movement has been an amazing outlet for you in being outside and then biking. And then having all this inner work that you just get to keep practicing, and you're so good at it. Which then do you ever get worried like, oh my gosh, I'm going to gain this weight back? Like, do you have thoughts like that? Are there worries like that? Because,
yeah. I mean, I haven't consistently lost anything since November, December. And yeah, I'm scared.
Yeah, you get scared.
I am not. I refuse. I will not. So it is a true fear. And here again, when those thoughts come in, it's here.
Yes.
And those thoughts, they're just thoughts. And you just kind of have to let them go.
Okay, let's talk about this because this is so interesting. You had these thoughts before, and sometimes we think, oh my gosh, I'm going to lose 80 pounds. For those of you who want to lose 80 pounds, you're like, oh my gosh, those thoughts are going to go away. Do they ever go away? Does that inner dialogue ever go away?
It changes, but it doesn't usually go away.
That's right. It changes, but it's still there. The key is you've had so much practice navigating it and dealing with it that you have so much strength, so many tools that what I notice with you is if, let's say you do cycle down and you have a bad day or something, you know how to cycle back up because you have all these tools that helps support you in your thinking, in your emotions, in your eating, and in your movement. They all work together, and in your social circle where you have a whole social, you have a whole group of women who adore you, that can all help to support you to continue losing weight. And what we keep saying is that it does. And if you would have stopped at any one of those plateaus, you wouldn't have had the joy of going, oh my God, I'm 80 pounds down now.
Yeah. It's not just joy. It's not just gratitude. It's not, I mean, it encompasses it all. It is just.
Yeah. Going to the doctor and them saying, oh my God, your numbers are so awesome. You can get off certain medications. It's impacted so many things.
Yes, that was the best because that was like empirical evidence, Yes. The weight came down, the numbers on my lab came down, and it was just perfect.
I know. It's like you're seeing it not just, yes, you see the weight loss, you see the number. Yes, you feel a different way. And you also get to see, wow, inside of my body, things are also really changing from my lab work, my blood work, to my diabetes status. That's all changing.
Yeah.
Any last word?
Don't give up. Never quit. We all get frustrated. We all get tired. But after you sleep good and you wake up the next day, you can start over. Every day is a new start. It works. That works. And to not beat yourself up over it. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for having the courage to say hello to my audience, to say hello to my life, and just to really inspire other women. Sometimes I'll hear, Marna, I see people who've lost 30 pounds. What about I have 80 pounds to lose or I have 120 pounds to lose? Don't give up. Coolest thing when you don't feel like you're on something, you're just working with your mind, making some changes based on your body, loving yourself through the process, finding joys in your life. And you found biking and cycling, which is just been such a joy to watch and a privilege. It's changed your house and in your environment. It's changed your blood work. All of that wouldn't have been possible if you would have said, I'm not going to do it. I'm not willing. I'm not open. I'm not going to face this. And so I just want to say it's been one of the most fun and enjoyable gifts to me. And I'm so grateful and thankful that you said, hey, Marna, I want you to coach me. Thank you. It's a gift for me. I have loved every second of it. Love it. And you can see, like, Karen and I are pretty tight. That's what happens when we do coaching like this. And we mark a book all the time. We get to be pretty tight. And I get to know the ins and outs of her life. You build this kinship that's so awesome. And so I'm just so incredibly grateful. And thank you for sharing your story. It means so much to me. And it means so much to be able to inspire other women who feel like it's not possible or feel like, oh my gosh, they have too much weight to lose. You just go little by little by little, right?
Right.
Well, thank you, everybody. I hope this inspires you to take amazing action in your mind, your body, in your heart. You can do this. Don't give up, like Karen said. All right, everybody, have yourself an amazing, beautiful day. Bye.